February 18th, 2022. There's a topic for me that's in uncontrolled electric where it leaves the wall and it's invading your personal biological matrix. But because there's some form of seismic wave that even when the physicality is not making a sound that's audible or visual for me, there's some form of sideways or vertical movement of energy in a way that's not natural. It's almost like the particles in the air are buzzing together by friction so fast. It's I've been in it for my whatever, but it's gotten worse in this last entrance into this last decade, which is age 43 chronologically, where my knees are actually in the interstitial fluid holding on to some form of an electric charge, and as I move they crack and it almost sounds like the bone cracking, and it happens more than I'd like to admit, and I have problems in my elbows now with holding things because it is so, and in between my metatarsals in my hand. So there's this theory, or there's this thing that I've been trying to look out for clues on the TV. I never thought of it before, but there's the words for TV service. Like they use words like carrier, but the word carrier has an Air Force connotation to some. The word service has a military and connotation, but yet somehow in the money mix up of this North American corridor, there's these different companies that keep springing up and then going away. Like for a while, it was antenna. So I don't know if that worked off of short or long wave like radio antenna, for the television. Then they moved to something called cable, but you had to have a physical cable in and a box in order to get television. Then they did away, and that was under analog, ANALOG. Then they did away with that. They moved to something digital. I don't know why. The phone carrier back in analog days had it had local, regional, and long distance carrier. Nowadays it's cordless. Doesn't even have a cord. I heard Drew Barrymore and Ross, I think his name is, mention about like when you used to get a busy signal when you tried to call somebody. If you didn't want to wait, you'd actually you could call the operator and break in on a phone call. I had I I don't think I was ever that long on the phone with anyone, but I could be wrong. But I forgot that that even existed. But the TV went, now there's cable box, then it went to satellite, then there was dish, and then there's like all of these like providers, but I don't know how these companies are starting up and how they're splitting this airtime. And so now, the other day, I also saw on Drew Barrymore's show called, I think it's just Drew, Drew. I saw she did a piece of like a set design, which she had on a designer. I forget his name. He's some guy who designed Oprah and Michelle Obama. That's the relation. I don't remember what his name is. I think it started with a W. Anyway, so there was a set design that he was on. He was wearing a black shirt with brown, like a caramel or camel color tartan or plaid, and he called it Zen, which I thought was interesting because I was looking around it and I'm like, well, what is he considering Zen to be? Because I'm looking around the room and it's not any definition that I'm aware of. That whatever. So anyway, so now I'm watching this Spectrum commercial for it's a cable carrier, CABLECARRIER, and there's this talk in here about, I think they mentioned AT&T. I'm not quite sure. I think there was an AT&T mentioned, but then there was this sign a contract. Like they were big on that with cellular carriers, like getting kids just like myself who don't have lawyers, who never have seen a contract before, doesn't know that there's danger involved in contracting oneself to a cell phone carrier, and just walking into a store in order to receive the device, but you have to sign some paper or something. But I don't remember what was on the paper from it, but I signed it in ink, INK, not in pencil. So, and there was no sharp tooth with a Sharpie marker and a translucent sheet of see-through cellular whatever for that encounter with humans where they try to entrap you into things. So here we are. So this is the commercial, which has it has a painting, an abstract painting hanging on the wall that looks very reminiscent of whatever Drew had on the set of her show the other day, which I also made a video capture on.
Internet TV service. Haberdashers. I got Spectrum, best service in town. Tell me more. Yeah, I'm loving my Spectrum internet, and the modem was free. Unlike AT&T. Somebody said AT&T. Internet from a telephone company? Brilliant.
Switch to Spectrum Internet for only $49.99 a month.
Internet from a telephone company. And that's the whole thing nowadays, is they've got telephone, internet, and cable in some package, or I don't know, is the new chic word bundle, BUNDLE for kiosk words, of how to chase schemes in the big wide world of, like, I don't know how they do it, but I'm not feeling so hot.
285-49.99.
This TV definitely needs Spectrum. Spectrum has the most HD. Correct TV got HD, but you got to get into a contract.
That was a satellite dish. That was whatever dish. There's 3 different dish companies. I had called to inquire once. One of the houses that we moved into. It was like every time we moved to a different house, I had to call around and figure out what the services were that were cheap enough that I could afford them.
Contract? That's a satellite contract right here. Spectrum has no contract.
And a voucher contract for up to $500. Get Spectrum TV for $49.99 a month.
I'm also putting a TV out here.
Well, I'll take my TV with me.
Yeah, the Spectrum TV app lets you stream live TV and on demand anywhere, on any device.
Come on, let's make a deal.
That's not a deal. I'm getting Spectrum.
You see?
Switch to Spectrum Internet and TV for just $49.99 a month each. Call 1-844-285-4999.
Here's a look at your sunrise and sunset times for tomorrow, sponsored by Spectrum Mobile.
No, I want to get that painting. Oh,
I'm loving my spectrum.
This painting right here. That weird abstract scribble of some sort was on a image that Drew had. I think her color contrast was different, but it was something along those lines, and it was on the Zen set. I don't know if they spell it with an H or not. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza. It's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way Universe, Galaxies Broken. It's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.